Hello, next community. I wanted to show everybody's Bill's system, putting the final touches on his nice Next Cube. So for testing, I'm having fun with this Quokka. And Quokka is a little Australian marsupial. I printed one out there. And it's also the name of our device for a collaborative effort between Rabbit Hole and Black Hole. And here is a wireless Millennium Falcon mouse that I made that, believe it or not, works with their Quokka and original NeXT hardware. Now, if it doesn't sync, I've also found that that computer over there, my Mac Mini, has a stronger signal, and so it will conflict, and I have to unplug this to get the Millennium Falcon to sync with the NeXT hardware. Pretty amazing how I'm figuring this out, but I'm sure that will help somebody in the future that has that issue. Also still trying to figure out wireless. This keyboard does work. It's an old gaming keyboard, I believe from Alien Tech or Viotech, and that I had sitting around. And so what this does is it gives us the advantage of being able to use modern USB keyboards and mice with our good old NeXTs. And so with my custom cable, there's a DB19 connection in the back of the original NeXT sound card. And I also have Brian Archer's third-party sound cards here that it works with, and they look like this. So you have the DB19 port, and then your ADB and non-ADB ports. So our Quokka here would plug in to the non-ADB section. So then the Y cable is always centered here, okay, which is a DB19 connection at the cube, and goes into our flat panel. So we now have modern flat panel support in 2-bit grayscale on cubes. So what we're experiencing here is you'll see that sometimes it'll stall during boot, and it looks like this old drive has a lot of networking on it. There are some neat apps that I'm going to harvest. You know, a lot of 1- and 2-man shops made these custom apps, and one that's on here of interest is called CB app. I'll launch it in a second. So to get by something like this, if it stalls upon boot, try Control-C. Now, if you get a check disk here, let it do its thing. It's a self-healing process for the NeXT. Now, in my opinion, hard drives boot a heck of a lot faster than your Zulu, Blue SCSI, whatever other flavors of SCSI there are out there now. It's catching up. Even with 100 megabit per second cards, I still feel like original hard drives are quicker on boot and launch and everything else. Now you're probably going to hear some saws and stuff cutting in the background. Tom's fixing my back step. So it's a busy day at Black Hole with many projects. So you can see that the Millennium Falcon, I made this little mouse here, is wireless, working with original NeXT hardware. Pretty cool, huh? And it looks like they never set a root password. That's why we have this login screen. So I'm going to choose NeXT USA keyboard from this toggle, and it's going to drop us into the operating system. So there's some interesting things going on here. As I can tell, this particular drive was personalized for, I believe it's a network. It looks like it was Virginia, probably either a university or a government agency or something. But there are some neat apps, and one of them I'm going to launch. Pure coincidence. Yeah, this is kind of interesting for anybody that owns a NeXT. I can see things here that aren't normally set up this way. So, of interest to me is going to be local apps. As I saw some kind of fun stuff in here I had not seen before. One that caught my attention was CB app. I don't think I've seen At Your Service or Convert Picked app or a bunch of these other ones too. So I'll harvest them and put them on our master, because often one and two man shops just created these apps, and they never saw the light of day outside of a few systems. So CB app is pretty neat. I did launch it earlier, and it looks like somehow we could have our NeXT become a CB radio. I'm not quite clear on what's going on here, but when I launched the info panel, there is a help section too that I'll peruse. I think I'm going to keep this drive intact and then figure it out. So when I launched the info panel, this is kind of cool. It's a NeXT steal your face icon. I'm a deadhead, so I know that most people may not. Jim Million, okay, Mill Composer Palette. By pure coincidence, I don't know what the odds are of this. His wife, Ann Million, formerly Ann Sawyer, both worked at NeXT, or he may have just worked for the Mill Composer Palette at a different company. But they live in Fort Collins now, and she runs the library, and just so happened to be here a few weeks ago. So I just take a screenshot and texted this. I'm sure they'll get a laugh, a good laugh out of this. As Jim Million, I'm assuming that's her husband, was credited for part of this application that is a CB. Let's see if there's anything in the help section. I was just intrigued. Bill, your cube's coming. I wanted to include a hard drive for you. And, I'll throw some extra apps on there. Let's see, for the quick introduction, let's see what it has to say. We're going to have to go here. And to conduct voice or file conversations with other users on a network. Hey, that's kind of fun. So apparently I can have a network of NeXT, and it gives us an intercom feature. How about that? Well, that'll be a little fun to try. I don't know if I've seen anything like this on NeXT before. I wonder if we could actually do video as well with a couple dimension boards in this app. We'll have a little fun tinkering with it here. NeXT was so far ahead of everything else, but this would be a neat feature. It's kind of like a back channel phone line, voice over IP before. I wonder if the network would include international or across the world. So I'll have to see if I can network this with Previous on my Mac Mini and see if I can get two-way communication going. Fun app, fun drive. I'm going to preserve it and copy this app over for the community. And I'm sure I can get permission from Jim. He'll probably get a kick out of it. And so here, another little Tesseract cube. Stay tuned, more fun stuff to come from the black hole. And I've got some nice drives over here, Bill, that I'm going to try, go ahead and reformat. I want to include one in here for you. We have space. And then that way you have the option, free of charge, for your patients and everything else, you'll have the option of our Zulu, the modern version with the SD card and thousands of apps. Now it seems like 1,000 and at least one. As well as the hard drive, and you can simply unplug and plug it in. I did order in some scsi cables that have 4 connectors on them, so that'll make it easy. You won't have to unplug anything too drastically. And I could probably even set it up with maybe the drive is the main boot drive, and then configure the Zulu card to be, so the main hard drive would be 0, and then the subsequent partitions on the Zulu card would be 1 through 5, and the CD DVD ROM would be 6. I think I can do that. We'll give it a go. And then I've also got your new old stock floppy in here. In fact, I'm going to see if you're around. I'm going to give you a call and upload this video, and we'll chat here momentarily. Everybody else, stay tuned. More fun stuff to come from the black hole on a Thursday.